What was your first impression of is it Paulo Lins?
Paulo Lins.
His book when you read it for the first time?
Yeah, the thing is that Brazil is really like two different countries, and one part of the country doesn't speak to the other. It's really, there's an apartheid in the country, you know?
Which parts are they?
I mean, like, for the Brazil I live is the middle class Brazil, you know?
Okay.
It's the regular, official Brazil.
Right.
But in Rio, 18% of the population lives in slums, and those slums are really different, like a different country, different. And we don't know what happens inside. Even me, living so close to this reality, I really didn't know. Of course, I read newspaper and all, but when you read newspapers or watch it in TV, it's always about only about crimes and always seen through the middle class point of view. You know, it's people from this side talking to this. Right. And what was really revealing in Paulo Lins' book was because he was using the other point of view. He was raised in Sirapcar, and he spent 8 years writing this book. So it's really something written from inside.
Right.
He told me that I think I wrote this in our production notes, that sometimes he was writing the book, and he would see some characters passing by who would go down there and take a beer, and so it's really something from inside.
Yeah.
And it's a society completely different from Brazil. I mean, different laws. There's no police. There's no judge. There's no medical assistance. The drug dealers really control the area. And so I decided to do the film not because of the action, because I don't like action films at all, but because of this anthropological approach to show how the society is organized, how they control, and how they how they did the first steps to get in the place where they are today.
Right.
Because today is even worse. I mean, today all the slums in Rio are controlled by drug dealers, and instead of controlling just one area, now there are big chiefs that control like 60 or 70 slums.
Really?
So Rio is split between 3 factions.
Right.
And the war that's going on now is between 60 communities, how they call themselves, against 60. You know, it's really bigger, and so the film tries to explain how it started.
Yeah. Did you when you read the book, did you immediately think I have to make this as a movie?
Yeah. In the beginning, I said, okay, I'm going to read this, but definitely I'm not going to do this film, because a friend of mine asked me to read it, thinking about the film. But after some pages, I was involved, and when I just finished the book, I just called Paulo Lins and say, hey, what about doing a film here? And bought the rights and worked for 2 years with Braulio.
Yeah. Well, okay. What was the adaptation process like? That must have been quite a.
Yeah. Actually, the script is quite different from the book, because the book is very episodic. There's now there's a new version with 450 pages.
Okay.
But the first version, the one I read before the film, was the 600 pages novel with 250 characters. And no structure at all, just episodic. He'll just tell me, he presents a character, and you follow this guy for 15, 20 pages, and this guy dies, and he presents the second one, and he dies, and that's stories, a lot of plots and characters, and with no structure. And to do a film, I knew that I would have to create some. First of all, we decided to create this main character, Rocket, the guy who would tell us the story. And for me and from Braulio, Rocket is Paulo Lins' alter ego. You know, because Paulo Lins was the only character in the book, the guy who goes from the beginning telling the story. So
he saves a lot.
I said, well, let's do this. Let's put Paulo Lins in the book, because he's going to tell us the story the same way he does it in the book. So we create this guy, and then we decided to split the stories in 3 different periods, so people could understand this development of or the chaos coming to those places, you know. And this is not in the book. So when we decided to do that, what we did next was a big list of all characters and all the plots. You know, just like storylines for each plot, and then we choose. I like this guy. This. We choose like 15 characters and 20 plots, and then cutting. We came to our main characters and to all the stories we were telling. was really much more about cutting things and selecting things than creating.
Okay.
Because the book is very searchful. Yeah.
Was the book fiction? Did they change the names of the characters in the book?
Some of the characters, yeah. The characters that are still alive, Pauline decided to change names.
Okay.
The ones that are dead already used the same names.
Now, so Knockout Ned and Little Z were real people?
Real people with real names, and you see them in the end of the film. Yeah. Pictures and all.
Right.
And for those guys for the guys in the film that were using the right names and etc., of course we paid their families, we had a contract and all.
Okay.
I'm saying this because now there's one guy, the guy who pretends to be Carrot. Well, actually, the guy who was Knockout Ned's partner.
Okay.
His real name is Potato, not Carrot. And he was in the jail since how we showed in the film, and he was released 3 months ago.
Okay.
And now he's trying to sue us.
Oh, really?
Because he's saying that we used his story and we didn't pay him.
Right. Okay.
And we're saying that we bought the rights of the book, and Pauline told us that the story that is written in the book is not his real story.
Right.
The only coincidence is because he was Knockout Ned's partner, and well, he's still trying to sue the publisher now.
Okay.
But with all the rest, we're okay.
Let's see. Are like, you know, are the characters of Little Z and Knockout Ned remembered even before the book and everything came out in society, or have they just been elapsed by so many more people like them taking their place over and over again? You know, are they famous still?
They're famous, yeah.
Right.
Everybody knows. Because me and Braulio, the only reference we had about this story was, of course, the book.
Right.
But we went to City of God a couple of times to try to understand the place, locations, and to really understand the book. And talking to people, everybody older than 35 still knows about those guys and talk about them. And it seems that Little Z was really cruel. You know, he was a very, very tough guy. Because since then, City of God has other. Each 2 or 3 years, the boss, how they call themselves, changes. You know, the bosses got killed or goes to jail, and comes another one, and that's how it goes. But because of the way he was, Little Z is still remembered in City of God. And Benny also, everybody still loves him.
Still loves Benny?
Yeah. Seems that he was a very cool guy. See, now you go to places and everybody says, oh, I remember, this guy was great, he paid for us beer, he was incredible, he helped a lot of people in City of God, giving money, and so everybody still loves him.
Right. Is City of God gotten much worse now? Could it get worse?
Yeah, I think so. Now it changes, always changing. But now City of God is split in 4 different areas with 4 different bosses.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I had the best news in the last year, yesterday night. There's a rapper in City of God, and this I didn't tell anybody yet. But there's a rapper very known in Brazil called MV Bill that lives in City of God, and he was really pissed off of the film. And he 2 weeks ago he sent a letter to all newspapers saying that we were using their stories, and the community didn't got anything, and everybody we were stigmatizing City of God, and all this. We were waiting for something like that. But and he wrote this letter very aggressive, and because of that, some ministers and from the federal government, a lot of people came to City of God, and they decided to create a project for City of God. It's going to be like a pilot project, that they want to do in all the other communities in Rio. So this is going to be the first slum in Brazil that will have the help from 3 or 4 ministers and the mayor, and
really?
They really want to change City of God now to use as an example to use. Because we had, I don't know if you know, but last October we elected this left-wing president, new president. And he keeps saying that social investments is going to be, his work will be all to social investment, this kind of. And now they decided that City of God is going to be their pilot, pilot project So this is great.
This is good.
Everybody in the community are very, very excited.
Yeah.
There's schools, and they're going to do like a television inside City of God, and projects for health. It's really a big thing.
That's great.
With the president looking for it couldn't be better.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm very, very happy with that.
How do you spell that rapper's name? Was it M?
MBILL. Bill.
Okay.
Bill. MV Bill.
Now, when did you decide to work with non-actors?
Well, I think when I decided to do the film, I wanted to do with the same feeling of the book. I mean, with this inside feeling,
Right.
Sometimes with this feeling of documentary sometimes. And so I knew that I couldn't get this feeling with professionals because they wouldn't know. And I wanted to use the expertise from these people from inside those slums for the film. And that's why this was my first decision. I'm going to do this, but with locals, so I can use their expertise. And we never gave them the script. I think this is the big trick in the film. Instead of giving them our dialogues, we just tell them what was the intention of each sequences and let them improvise.
Okay.
And doing those improvisations for 10 months, that's how we came out with all the dialogues. If you read our our fourth version of the script, the script that I decided to work with, and you watch the film, I think 20 or 30% of what you hear in the screen is written in the script.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, 80% or 70% they really made up.
Wow.
That's why it's so natural.
And they brought the slang and all the stuff that you might not know.
And even some intention. Sometimes they'll say, "No, you're really pissed off because of that," and you hit him. And say, "No, I'm going to play around with him. Just make some jokes. This would be that's what I would do in this situation." I would say, "Go ahead." So they really, it's a kind of, they're a co-author of the film, sure, and that's why it works.
Yeah. Were you? Let's see. How did you put together? Was your interpretation workshop?
Yeah. Wow, that's. This was the first thing I did when I decided to shoot the film. I wrote the script, and then this was the first thing to do. I called Katia Lund. Katia Lund, she had done before a documentary about drug dealers. She knew a lot about drug dealers. So I called her to help me with the actors, finding those boys and creating this school. And we did 2,000 interviews around all slums in Rio. And we brought 200 boys to this place in downtown. And during 6 months, we did those improvisations exercises, Always, this was our class was always the same thing. Some warm-up exercises in the beginning, like for half an hour, and then we would give them an idea. Okay, now you two are going to be the police. You're going to be a drug dealer. You're going to try to create something. We would give them a plot and let them bring to us. After half an hour or 40 minutes, they would bring something for us, for all the group. And then after watching all the little plays, everybody do some comments, and that's how we worked for 6 months.
Okay.
So after this first 6 months, they really get used to improvisations. They learn what was good, because sometimes they would do something and everybody would react laughing or with applause.
Right.
And so they kind of learned how to create interesting things and how to to touch the little audience.
Yes.
And so after this 6 months, we picked up our main actors. And we did the same process to rehearse the film. Another 4 months rehearsing, then rehearsing the scenes from the script.
Right.
But they were already very good in improvisations. In the end, you could give them an idea, and in 10 minutes they would bring something, and always something interesting, and that's how we do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And a man named, was it Guti Fraga?
Oh yeah.
Helped you a lot with that? Or?
Well, I think he was the most important guy in this process. Because this guy has this school. It's not a school, it's a theater group, amateur, in a slum in Rio, very known slum. And he has this group for 13 years. So he knows how to deal with those boys and how to touch them and how to have some discipline, keep them. Right. and so he was very helpful because all this process, I had never worked like that, and Gucci had a lot of experience. So he was the boss, you know. Me and Katya, we were like his assistant.
Okay.
In the beginning, we didn't tell the boys that we were going to do a film. We invited them just to do a workshop for actors with a certificate at the end. That's what they did. And Gucci presented me and Katya as his assistant. What was very good, because the boys, they didn't care about this, you know. Sometimes because we were there, sitting in the floor with them and doing the same things and barefoot, and so they say, "Oh, go get a coffee for me," you know. It's really no respect, no. But this was great, because when finally after 3 or 4 months, of course, they discovered, they realized that that we were gonna do a film, and we were the directors, but it was too late. We're so intimate, you know. They couldn't create this, that relation of respect.
Right.
There was no hierarchy at all.
Right.
This was great too. I think it was very helpful. They were very close, very confident.
Did you have were there any problems with any discipline problems? Were any of them criminals at the time, or?
Yeah, we had a couple of criminals, boys that were drug dealers in the group. But in the beginning, the first week, when we select our group, we told them that this was our own condition to do the workshop. Nobody could go to the workshop in the morning and drug deal in the night. This is something that we wouldn't. If you want to keep drug dealing, leave. And 3 or 4 boys, they worked for 1 or 2 weeks and they decided to leave. But there were 4 boys that stayed with us, and till now they didn't went back to dealing. They're still working with us, and I think they're out.
Yeah, that's great.
But it's great, yeah.
I guess you kind of had to you opened their minds to another world.
Yeah, no, and they love that, you know, because in this relation of being drug dealers, I think 40% of drug dealers, or even more than that, are killed by friends. It's guys always betrayed for something, because of a girl, because of any reason, because of some money. But it's or the police or an enemy or a best friend kills him. It's really so. All their relations are very unstable. You know, you don't trust. You have a friend, but it's not your friend. You have always to be. And when they found this group, incredible group with Gucci Fraga, and Gucci Fraga, first 2 months, he was just trying to create this feeling of a group, you know. Esprit de corps.
Right.
How do you say this in English?
Esprit de corps?
No, I mean esprit de corps.
Esprit de corps is how you say it.
Yeah.
Camaraderie.
Yeah. Okay, and so the group was, they were very attached. They really became friends with each other. And for those boys who were drug dealers, they were really amazed. Oh, life is so good. How great to have friends. They were really...
Right.
Well, it was such an incredible experience for me.
Yeah.
Seeing all this process, you know.
Yeah. Let's see. So, I read in the press that you had to talk. One of the housing projects you shot, and you had to actually talk to the boss of it, or
No, we never talked to the guys. Right. We always talked to the community center. You asked permission to the community center, and of course they talked to whatever they had to.
Okay.
And in both cases, in places where we were shooting, that people are still working as drug dealers. I mean,
right.
We had to create a way to work without disturbing them.
Right.
But they knew that, and they were. So every day we would tell them where we were going to be shooting, so they wouldn't be there. You know. And we had to go to the police to ask the police not to come. Shooting was the opposite.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Of course, we couldn't have police there, so. And the police respected it, and they didn't show up. When we were shooting, they wouldn't come up. And then other condition was hiring as much as we could people from the community. Mm-hmm. So our hairstylists, carpenters, all kind of work that we could, everybody that we could use in the community, we were using. All the extras, of course, were from which was a great idea, because we had in our some days we had like 500 people working as extras, and half of these people was from the community.
Wow.
We really involved everybody. And this, I think, was, if we hadn't do this, we wouldn't be able to shoot.
Yeah. Was there any time you were afraid for your safety at all during the shooting?
Yeah, one or two moments.
Okay.
Well, when you're shooting, you have so many problems, real problems, that you don't have time to think about virtual problems, you know,
Right.
problems that you might have. But I had, two situations with one of them, a guy pointing a gun, but this was really in the beginning, before all the negotiation.
Okay.
After that, it was really cool, no problem at all.
When did they have the gun pointed at you? How did that happen?
The first time, this was actually very interesting. The first time I've been to City of God, I had a drug dealer, one guy from the mayor that works in the area, and me and my producer. And the first,
You want to document? Yeah.
I'm getting music.
So you were talking about you had a gun to your head. How that happened?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, this was the first time we were visiting. Actually, this was the first time I was getting inside the City of God. I wanted to visit, Little Z's mother.
Okay.
And the guy that was taking us, he asked us to leave the car in this little avenue, Main Street, and walk walking, not in car, because he told us it was going to be safer. But we walked like 20 meters from the street where we left our car, and a boy came with this huge silver 45, and I think it was a 45. Pointed and shouting. I was really scared, but the drug dealer came out and said, "No, don't shoot! Don't shoot! They were with us!" And the boy disappeared in 2 minutes. And it was a very good experience, because this was my first 20 seconds in City of God, and I could see that the story that I was gonna tell was a real story. It was not just a novel or it was really made me believe in my own story. You know, and you kind of I said, "Wow, so." That's how it happened. But after that, we went to talk to every place we were talking to drug dealers before, we were taking care, and so nothing else happened. Everybody always knew who we were and that we were going to be there. And if you decide to visit one of those slums in Rio, it's nobody will shoot you, but this guy was more aggressive. But if you go alone without talking to anybody, you will walk like 10 meters and somebody will come to you and say, "May I help you? What do you want here? Can I help you? What are you looking for?" Nobody will let you go 50 meters without explaining. Because they have people watching.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it's really like, you think it's just a street, but if you walk in the street without somebody will come to you, and they're not going to shoot you. This boy was kind of aggressive, but usually this is not what happens. People just come to you and say, "Hey, what are you looking for?"
Right.
It's really.
Did Little Lee's mother give you any interesting information, or?
Yeah, I wanted to understand what was her version of the story, and how she felt about this boy, and because in the script, the little C that I put in the script was very cruel, because everybody was telling me that's how he was. Even when he was a boy, he was very. And Paulo Lins, he didn't like. This was the only thing he didn't like in the script, because he thought he told me that my little Z was kind of a natural born evil, something like that. And this was not. This doesn't exist. The problem is the society that made him like this, and so I went to talk to his mother to ask her how he was, and I thought I was gonna find a very confused woman with unstable and totally a mess. I thought I was gonna get to his house and I would understand why he was such a aggressive guy. But when I got there, it was a very educated lady, very clean house. After this coffee, is really, really everything very poor but very clean, very. And I talked to her and with her daughter, Little Z's sister, and two nephews, and they were very, regular people. Right. The boys were going to school, very And I asked her, what happened to your son? And she told me, I don't know, sometimes we can't control sun. You know, in Brazil we have this expression, I don't know if you have it in English, we call it the black sheep.
Yeah.
You know, do you have it here?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said, I don't know. All my sons and daughters, they are okay, but that's how he
was.
He came out.
Yeah.